Boris is threatening to ruin Christmas again. Nick, what's this?
Yes, well, the Mail has... Boris says he can't rule out Christmas lockdown. So, yes, Boris seems to think he can cancel the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, which I'm sceptical about. I mean...
I just called him Jesus, by the way.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I thought you would be a fan. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, I don't really believe he has the power to do this. Jesus has survived a lot worse, in my opinion. He's come through. So I believe Christmas will go ahead, despite what Boris says. What he's done is he's had this press conference. You probably saw it. He said storm clouds were gathering in Europe, so it's a dark war imagery, which cynics might say is an attempt to get you to take the booster, because immediately after he said, take the booster. And there's depending on where you stand on the whole vaccine thing, the interesting thing is now if you haven't had the booster, you'll be thought of as unvaccinated, he basically implies. So you've got to keep getting these vaccines. The only thing that bothered me about all this...
Yeah, but it expires every 6 months, doesn't it? It loses,
exactly.
So you're going to have to now have a booster. Yeah.
I know. So what bothers me... I mean, look, I was watching the press conference thinking, look, Middle England... The great people of England are not going to cancel Christmas this year, I don't believe. Because I always check with my mum about these things, and she's president of the WI. I think that, like, the heart of England, people are just not going to accept, even if Christmas is cancelled, they're just going to go ahead anyway. That's my opinion. Not do anything illegal.
All I'm trying to do is not make a your mum joke.
I imagine some people will and some people won't, but fewer people will respect it than they did last year.
The only thing that bothered me as well about this whole thing, this whole Christmas cancelled and take the... It's like Boris is there, this sort of overweight guy who had an obvious illness, like another illness, lecturing us about health. I mean, you know, I go to the gym twice a week, I do running, I do weights, the whole thing. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Thank you. And then we've basically got an obese sex addict with a super cold lecturing us about health.
It was very funny that all the papers all reported Boris Johnson, who has a cold.
Who has a cold, again.
Allegedly has a cold, who didn't cover up his mouth visiting the hospital. I mean, for me, it's like when he says...
He needs to up his vitamin D and zinc.
I think it's personally a good sign for Christmas happening, because when he says that he can't rule out, for me, it's just... I just think it's the opposite. Whatever he says is the opposite is true. So I'm not having a fair. I'm having a fair. There's, you know, I can't rule out lockdown. There's definitely not going to be a lockdown. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, he's just the take-up of the booster isn't as good as they hoped. Although the take-up of the vaccine, I gather, exceeded their expectations.
Right.
And now it's just gone It's just giving everyone a guilt trip, basically.
Yeah, and I doubt you accept this, Tom. I mean, we've got to... Let's just look at... Why should we accept the premise that the government can cancel Christmas? I reject that entire premise. Is that controversial?
Are you one of these people who wants to separate church from the state?
Well, I'm just saying, why... Do you
it's a term.
I know it's a term.
I mean, they're not actually going to cancel Christmas, but they're just saying you're going to have to spend it on your own.
Tom, you're like a libertarian. You don't think the government should have the power to just cancel Christmas on a whim? Where's that law? They've just made it up.
If we want to get deep for a second, I'm of the view that a voluntarist approach to this whole crisis throughout would have resulted in outcomes that are probably considerably better than what we have.
What you said, exactly.
Sounds good to me.